going on, everybody? It's FREEDO here for Your Overwatch, and we don't have any Doomfisty or fashion event updates, unfortunately, but what we do have is a big patch that changed a lot of aspects of the game, as well as gave us a game browser that allows you to host custom games and match up with other players in the community. I think this addition was crucial to Overwatch, as it was desperately needing a better way to have pure fun factor enjoyment out of Overwatch. I look forward to hopefully a map editor to come out that really expands on the community's ability to create new game modes, but this is definitely a good step in the right direction. You can go in and play Widowmaker headshots only, or game modes that are all about explosions and tons of HP, take a load off from the competitive try-hard nature of the game in ranked play, and simply find modes that are fun for you. We've talked a lot about the Bastion changes in previous videos, which you'll definitely want to check out, and I'm actually surprised that it went to live, which makes me question if I wasn't too harsh on it previously. Playing with it in quick play, where I'm matched up against similar MMR players today versus the PTR experience I've had testing it before, I've come to realize that maybe the key to Bastion not being overpowered right now is how exploitable his immobility is. Now granted, he's an unkillable machine when you nano boost him in turret form, but nano boost already made so many other characters basically unkillable, whereas now a nano Bastion, the only thing you can do is either run from it or crowd control it. It almost feels to me that that benefit might be pretty much equally weighted to the flexibility that a character that can move has in their ability to set up or press the advantage of nano boost. I mean, Bastion can't chase anything down, right? You have to lock it into the fight, then pop nano, then it can wreck stuff, and yeah, that's a lot of fun. But because its hitbox is so big, he's the easiest hook, sleep dart, or Mei wall target there is, so you have to beat Bastion with crowd control and proper map positioning and timing, whereas other nano boost targets are perhaps even more imposing. Once the competitive season really gets underway, we'll have to see if the Bastion apocalypse is nigh, or if he's just a slightly more viable character like before. I'm leaning towards that way right now. Some strategies can devastate an enemy team, but aren't the top of the meta, and I think that's where Bastion is now. Because yes, his sentry hit scan damage is better, but he's such a big hitbox that you don't really want to pick him for that reason alone. That's more of an option. If you're going to do that, you are still better off a soldier who's more dexterous. Instead, he's more of a siege character. And even though that becomes good, there's characters that are good at fighting that immobile playstyle that start to become good as well. Other cool changes, Mei can now be targeted by allies while in cryo freeze, which means you should be able to heal her and apply effects to her while she's in that ability. Mercy's Resurrect has a change where she becomes invulnerable when casting Resurrect, meaning that she won't die immediately when she's trying to fly in to resurrect her team. Debatable whether that buff is enough to really make her much better than she was before, but easier to play and a quality of life change for sure. D.Va's defense matrix is more reliable now. There used to be a minimum travel distance before the shot got blocked by defense matrix, whereas now it'll block it immediately, so you can put defensive matrix through teammates and enemies, and it'll stop the shots coming out of that player's gun. The example that the developers used is that now you can put defense matrix over a teammate and block the follow-up shot after they get Roadhog hooked. But this example is a little wonky to me because, to be honest, Roadhog is an answer to D.Va. If the enemy team has a D.Va and trying to either flank or face tank with her, Roadhog hooks her into the team and wrecks her. Zarya is still a better tank counter to Roadhog in my opinion, but besides that, I think Defense Matrix now is just more reliable in more situations. It's not going to see a massive change in her character, but helps her ability to move that Defensive Matrix in clutch timings and makes it work the way it probably should have all along. Roadhog Hook 3.0 is now out with a longer cooldown, 8 seconds now, and instead of the targets going directly in front of him, they're actually 3.5 meters away, meaning that the follow-up shot for hooks in general require a little bit more aim than they used to. But the spread of his weapon is decreased to compensate for that, meaning that when he's not hooking things, his weapon's a bit better, and when he does hit a hook, it isn't as easy as a follow-up shot as it used to be, meaning that Roadhog players will have to be a bit better in following up on hook, but also that he's kind of just better overall as well. You can hook less often, it'll still be just as deadly if you hit your shot, but his gun's better too. So things just kind of got rearranged. Debatably, he's better now, but at the very least, he's just as good, in my opinion. For console players, Symmetra and Torb turrets actually got a small buff, because according to the developers, they've been monitoring these characters, and they could utilize a bit more firepower with their turrets, sort of splitting the difference to where it was originally nerfed back in the day. So now Symmetra's Sentry's damage per second is now up to 25.5, whereas it used to be 21 damage. And the turret for Torb damage is increased to 12, whereas it used to be 10. Also across the board, Torb's weapon, when reloading, the ammo goes into the gun sooner. And I think this had to do with accidental reload cancels. I've definitely done this playing Torb, or trying to learn Torb, I should say. He more plays me than I play him, but it was too easy to accidentally cancel your reload, so now I think that's fixed. Winston's head hitbox is now smaller than it used to be by 15%. Used to have a head hitbox the size of the moon, now it's more of an asteroid, and more accurately fits the character model, and is a sort of buff to his survivability. And I will say, from playing Roadhog today, following up on a hook into his head, you can definitely feel that head hitbox being less forgiving. Now, an interesting change to a bunch of characters, to their auto-aim sensitivity. Now, a lot of characters have abilities that auto-aim to targets in front of you. This is Zenyatta's Orbs, Zarya's Bubbles, Sombra's Hack, Mercy's Staff, and Guardian Angel ability, and of course, Ana's Nano Boost. All of these now have a slider that allows you to adjust the sensitivity of these abilities. Now, the one that I was most concerned about was Ana's Nano Boost, because the Boostio problem is real. Every Ana player's had this, where a friendly Lucio is playing near you, and as soon as you press Q, jumps in front of your line of sight and steals Nano Boost and absolutely wrecks your Nano. Now, what this sensitivity change can do is not fix that problem entirely, but at the very least, make it happen less often. If a character is directly in front of your crosshair, in that if a Lucio jumps past you and is in the entirety of your screen, yes, it's going to target him, unfortunately. But if you put the sensitivity down to 10, as low as it goes, as I have, Nano won't be frantically changing targets in the middle of your screen. You'll have to fully look over to a different target for it to swap. There'll still be a problem when there's multiple targets in the center of your screen, or if something jumps in front of you, but at the very least, this will make your Nano targeting a bit more precise. Now, as far as the other characters go, I don't know if I personally would say my Zenyatta orbs felt like they went to the wrong target, but you might want to play around with that. Zarya bubbles for sure. You want to be careful not to make it too strict, because it's important that you land that bubble without having to flick shot directly to your teammate. But at the same time, sometimes you do target the wrong character, so it might be worth to put it down a bit. Another sensitivity change was to the Widowmaker hook shot, or grappling hook if you're not a Zelda fan. If you put this sensitivity all the way down to 10, then the hook will go exactly where you aim it. But that's going to require you to aim to ledges perfectly. So if you want to feel more tactical like Batman or something, maybe that's useful. But the leniency of the sensitivity can be forgiving, so you don't have to aim it perfectly when you're using it. So I don't actually suggest you put your sensitivity of your grappling hook down too much. But instead, be sure to always aim high enough so you don't accidentally aim on something that is lower than the target that you went to, because typically you're going to want to go to the highest elevation because you're a sniper after all. A couple other changes. Players who have skill ratings under 500 will no longer be displayed on their player profiles. And this is because Blizzard's noticed that a lot of players have been deliberately throwing matches in order to obtain the lowest attainable skill rating, and they don't want to incentivize that behavior. That's why this change was put in place. A more complicated one is this respawn delay when taking an objective, and this is very important. So now, when attackers outnumber the defenders on an objective point, the enemy team's respawns will gradually increase to try to allow attackers to have a better chance at taking those objectives, and reducing the ability to stall out for more respawns. What this means is, when the enemy team has, let's say, a few characters left on the point, and your team is respawning, let's say you're Tracer, thinking that you're going to go stall out that objective. Well, now, you have to question to yourself, is it worth it to go stall for time to try to get more respawns, or should you wait for that big regroup in order to try to take the point together as a team? Now, you might have to go stall the objective because otherwise the enemy team might just win and capture the point. But if you do that too early and fail at it, the respawn system is going to inherently punish you for doing that, which should mean that the attacking team has a better chance to try to close out objectives, whereas before, stalling with Mei, Tracer, Diva, etc., bought so much time that the defenders could very easily and reliably retake a point that they probably shouldn't have. This is going to be crucial on 2CP point B, as well as finishing out maps on Escort, and could ultimately mean that a lot of these maps are more attacker biased. Change to a map, Eichenwald no longer has the doors at the second gate. Instead, there's this cool rubble that sort of splits the difference between that concept, that allows some space for the attackers to make it through, but also isn't a wide open area that the defenders easily can get through. Still allows for some zoning, but no longer is it feeling basically impossible to squeeze your way through those little doors. Guys, that's it for the updates. What did you think? Were you disappointed that there wasn't more cool news to break down? I kind of was, but really, we have to respect Blizzard's process. They're really good at focusing at the certain things that they want to do and do them right, instead of trying to diversify too much and do things half-heartedly, so we have to give them respect for that. No new heroes as of yet, but I think we should see some down the pipeline. I would have liked it better if it came out right at the start of the season at least, so it could sort of define what the season was about, whereas now everyone's going to get placed and then there'll be a whole new meta when the new character or characters drop. But for now at least, we can enjoy the new content that we do have, the server browser, and the new playstyle with all the different character changes and whatnot. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. It really does help us out. Subscribe to our YouTube, and be sure to hit the bell icon so you can get notified when each of our videos go live. Linked in the description, you can check out our Twitter, our live stream, and our Discord server, where you can find teammates to pair up with. Maybe you can play some fun custom games with all the cool new settings. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.